name, what department you're from, and yeah.
I'm Mary Ann and I work with the ABESL department.
ABESL? Okay, cool. Welcome, thank you.
Hi, I'm Gary, I work in the business department.
Okay, I'm coming to your meeting tomorrow.
Oh, good.
With Dr. Griffin. Are you gonna be there?
I'm planning on it.
I'll see you 2 days in a row then. Hey, hopefully tomorrow when I see you, the Cubs will have won tonight, and right? I'm gonna be watching the game tonight, so. I know Dr. Griffin's always, he's a Cubs fan.
I will be teaching tonight.
Oh, you're gonna miss the game then. Yeah, we always talk about the Cubs whenever we see each other, so hopefully we'll have good spirits tomorrow. Right?
Hi, my name is Mohammed. I in science department.
Okay.
Physics.
Cool. Welcome aboard. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm also in the business department.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow then too, probably.
Yes.
Because your faculty meeting's at what, 3:15 or something tomorrow? Yeah. So Dr. Griffin and I have been kind of trying to get me to come to one of the meetings since, I want to say last spring. So finally we got a date on the calendar that worked for us, and we're just going to do some quick, I know your meeting's only like an hour, so we're just going to do a quick little snippet, and hopefully that encourages people to start, using it, come to the workshops, that kind of thing. So thanks for coming. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Britt. I'm with Adult Education Department.
Okay.
And I run the Access to Literacy program on the Literacy Portal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for coming, everybody. Let's see. Aaron, are we on? Are we live?
Yes, we are, and I will edit. Great.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. All right, so I figured, this workshop is on the smart board, and then at, I think it's 3:30, then we move across the room. I mean, obviously it's two separate workshops, but if you're interested, that one is on the Epson BrightLink board. So there are two separate setups that they have throughout campus. So hopefully this is the right workshop for you. This is based on the smart board, so that's this board right here. If you're not at the right workshop, then that's okay. I'm not offended if you get up and revisit us another time. But so the biggest difference, the smart board has the pen tray, and all of the functionality of the smart board is actually built into the board. Whereas the board or the projector set up on the other side of this wall is called the Epson BrightLink, and all the touch and all that functionality is built into the projector. So as far as differences, that's kind of the biggest thing, but hopefully this will help. The good news is the software that is deployed throughout campus, it's called Smart Notebook, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today. So Smart Notebook is on every instructor computer throughout the campus. So that's the good news. So regardless if you're in a smart board room, or maybe next semester you're in a different classroom with an Epson board, the software is the same. So that's the good news today. Slight differences, but hopefully you'll be able to kind of navigate through the differences. So I figured what we'll do, are there any specific questions before we really dive into the workshop? Anything that you want to make sure that we cover, or no? Yeah?
Do we have to do anything with the computers?
Yeah, we're gonna look at the computers in a little bit. So the smart software that I'm referring to is loaded on all of these computers in the lab. So right now you can just relax, but once we get diving into the software a little bit, I'll kind of give you sometimes it's nice to follow along on the screen in front of you, that way you can kind of navigate as I'm going through. Yeah.
Question. So when you're assigned to a room where it has this kind of a board, that
Yep.
it's a smart room.
Yep.
But if it doesn't, then you just have the projector.
Yeah. So.
And a canvas screen. Then do they call it a digital room?
So the actual technology in that room is called an Epson BrightLink. I think they call it an interactive projector room. Erin, you'll probably know better than I do. No, like, I don't know. After the workshop, we'll take a walk over to this room right here, and I'll kind of show you some of the slight differences if you have a minute. But this is a smart board.
I know, because I know this one. I use this kind of a smart board. And
Okay.
now I'm assigned to one where it has a projector.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you call the Epson.
Yep, that's the one, and it's usually mounted on a dry erase board surface, like a dry erase board with the
Or
markers.
else the screen that you pull down. This is the one I got right now.
Oh, okay. It's not mounted on a dry erase board?
No. There's something that you pull. So made of canvas, kind of a,
Okay,
what do you call it, screen? You
Yeah.
have to pull it down. You can't even write on it.
okay, so that, I'm guessing, is, what building are
It's
you in?
Building F, third floor.
Right here? No, that way, that way.
Oh,
F, third floor.
right in here. Well, I was trying to explain
Yeah,
to my director. I didn't know how to explain it, and then he said, oh, maybe she's in the digital room. So I don't know, smart room or digital room, I don't know.
yeah, let's, cause that would just be like a regular projector room. I mean, that's not a smart board or the Brightlink. So I would say that's just the computer connected to a projector and then it just projects on a pull down
Yeah, so I
screen.
have to get into smart.
The smart notebook software?
Yeah, software.
Yeah. That should be on that computer because they've deployed the software on every instructor computer. So,
It's just being projected on that.
yeah, and I'll kind of show you, knowing your situation, I will show you some of the features you can use without being on
Mhm.
a physical board.
Okay.
So that'll probably help. Yeah, because the good news is anything that you do up here, obviously, you know, to get the full usage of the smart board, you'd be doing it up here. But you can do 90% of it from the computer station as well. So yeah. Any other specific questions you guys want to dive into? No? Okay. As far as turning it on, are we all familiar with that? Okay, good. All right. If not, stop me. Once the board is turned on, a couple things. These are your speakers. You can adjust your volume. You have 2 USB ports. So a lot of faculty members I know bring their content on a flash drive. If that is you, you can plug your flash drive directly into these USB ports versus, you know, finding your way into that dark cabinet with the computer and all that. So just gives you additional USB ports to the cabinet that the computer's hooked up to. So that's that. As far as turning it on, getting everything up and running, these boards have something called calibration. Are you guys familiar with that? Has anybody had to do that before? No? Maybe? A little bit? A long time ago. Okay. So basically what calibration is if you go up and you touch the board, you'll notice that where I'm touching, my finger is directly aligned to where the mouse is showing up, right? So I touch here, and that mouse is right on it. If you notice that it's off, and what I mean by off is you touch here, and the mouse shows up a little bit to the left or the right, or just not quite aligned to your touch, that's when you have to do a quick calibration. So the easiest way to do it is, this is your pen tray, right up here. In front of the pen tray, there's 2 buttons. I'll kind of draw them so you can, I'm a really good artist, so lucky you guys. So these, you know, here's your eraser. Says smart. 2 buttons. One looks like a keyboard, and one looks like a mouse. All you have to do to hold or to calibrate the board is hold those 2 buttons, these 2, down together for 5 or 6 seconds, however long that was, and this gray screen comes up. And if you walk into the room and you notice that, you know, it's perfectly aligned like it just was, you don't have to do this step. It's not something that's like, in order to get it to work or anything like that. So this screen says press the center of the target and release, right? So you always start in the top left corner and you just press and release. And it will go through 12 points. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. But like I said, if you notice that it's aligned like it just was, you don't have to do that. It's just a
Those are
default.
12 points?
12 points, yep.
Is it true for, how many are there?
There's 4, yeah, 4 pens.
Or the ones that got 2?
Yep, same thing.
Same thing.
Yep, the boards that have 2 pens, I think there's a button on that model that looks like this. It's a button. And it just kind of has a circle with a target in the middle. So for that model, you just press that button and that same gray screen will come up. So it's a little bit different because there's two pens and you don't have the two buttons in the front of the eraser. So, but anytime you see that like target, that's associated with that orient or calibrate feature. So, are we all square on that? Okay, good. So typically what we've done in other smartboard workshops is just kind of using the technology with the programs that you're already using in your classes. So what we did last time is we just kind of made a list. What programs or what features are you using in your classes already that you'd like to use with the smartboard? PowerPoint, is that one for PowerPoint? Okay.
Yes.
PowerPoint. What else? PDFs? PDFs, okay. Websites?
Notepads.
Websites, internet.
Websites, okay. Sorry, what was yours?
I normally do my, solve problems on the smartboard, and then I save it.
Okay.
Post it on.
Perfect, so, yeah, we're definitely gonna dive into the Smart Notebook program. And this is an easy whiteboarding program that you can use, as you're taking notes or as a whiteboard surface. All of these can be saved. You can save them as a PDF so that your students can access them. So we'll definitely dive into that. PowerPoint, PDFs, websites, Smart Notebook, any others that you're using with your classes. Word, does anybody use Microsoft Word or not really? No? You do?
Sometimes,
Word?
yeah.
Okay. So let's start with these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, as we're going along, if there's other things that you want to see, we can definitely dive into that. So let's start with PowerPoint. I know a lot of faculty members are using PowerPoint with the smartboards. So typically, I'm guessing, you would bring your PowerPoint up on a flash drive, right? So you plug your flash drive in, bring up PowerPoint. Let's see, Office, PowerPoint. So the nice thing about PowerPoint, let's see, this is, okay, oops. Let's see if there's one on the desktop or anything. Oh, okay. We'll just make a file new. Alright, so you guys are gonna be amazed at my PowerPoint. Alright. Here's the file. H-I-J-K-O. Okay. So here's my PowerPoint. It's really informative. So typically when you're using PowerPoint, I'm guessing you're in the full screen mode, so we're gonna go to slideshow from the beginning. So the nice thing about using the smartboard and PowerPoint, you can just bring up your PowerPoint, you can advance your slides from the computer, or you can do it from right up at the board. So the PowerPoint program has a functionality that talks to the smartboard. So if you just lift the pen, you can pick up and you can annotate directly in your PowerPoint file. To go on to the next slide, there's this PowerPoint menu. It typically sits at the bottom, but I just moved it to the top so everybody can see it. So to advance to the next slide, I'm just going to use the arrow, and here we are at slide 2. So if I marked up this slide, and you'll notice that the markings from the previous slide didn't follow me to the next slide, right? So if I go back to my first slide, those markings are still there. So it's part of the presentation, if that makes sense. So if I go to the second slide, and then I go to the third, I'm writing and taking notes. When you're done with the presentation, there's a little computer with an X, you'll notice that these markings are still part of your PowerPoint. So at this point, you kind of have two different options. You could either do a file save as, and you could call this example PowerPoint with notes, or you can just close out and it'll say, just like any other program, do you want to save changes? Typically people say no, don't save, I just want it to go back to its original state.
And that would be true either on the board or at your computer.
Yep.
When you close it.
Yeah, exactly. So everything that's going on the smartboard right now is also mirrored on the
Because
computer
I
screen.
usually close it out as the students are leaving,
Yeah, exactly.
sitting at the computer.
And the biggest thing is typically, I mean, we're so wired to save. So the biggest thing with this is just taking a second to realize, in this situation, I don't want to save, because I don't want these markings to become part of my presentation. If you accidentally hit save and they are part of your presentation, these are individual, like, images. So to get it to go back, you'd have to do some big editing. Like, see how you'd have to click through each slide? I've had to do it, trust me. It is not a fun process, but you know, and maybe it's best to just start with a backup anyways. You know, do a save as from the beginning just in case. So, but that's the basics of using the smartboard with PowerPoint. Any specific questions on that? No?
But
Okay.
if you put your PowerPoint in a flash drive,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can still write on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So if you you know, had a PowerPoint, you put it in here. You open up PowerPoint. You go to File, Open. You know, you find your flash drive, and then you just bring it up. So yeah, same. Yep, exactly. Same process. So, all right. I think we're good on PowerPoint, unless you guys have specific questions. If you do, jump in and ask. But we're gonna move on. And I'm not gonna save this. Because my PowerPoint wasn't that exciting. Let's talk PDFs. So, actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to jump to Microsoft Word. Oops. Office. And I'm going to make a Word document. And then oops, nope, okay. Okay, so here is my Word document. And I'm gonna make this. Okay, so here's my Word document. Again, it's just as informative as my PowerPoint. So within Microsoft Word, the nice thing is it's the same kind of functionality as PowerPoint. So if you just lift the pen, you can pick up the pen and annotate directly in Microsoft Word. If I scroll and I go back, the marking stays with the Word file. The biggest thing that people get confused on, I just picked up the blue pen, right? And it wrote in black. Watch, if I pick up red, it's still in black, right? So the biggest thing that gets people hung up in Microsoft Word is all of the pens, regardless of the color, they're all going to be black. So if you pick up green or blue or black or red, you're always going to have black. If you want to change the color in Microsoft Word, up at the top, and I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but it says Ink Tools, and then it says Pens. So you have to click on that and change the pen color within Microsoft Word. So then if I chose, say, red, or green, or blue, or highlighter, yeah, so it's, and that Ink Tools ribbon only shows up when the pen is out of the tray. So if I put the pen down, making a liar out of me. It shouldn't be there. There we go, got rid of it. There you go. So I knew I'm not crazy, but look, if I pick up the pen, see how it shows up? Pen down, there you go. It went away.
Sometimes you can write with your finger too.
Yeah, if you lift the pen in Word and you go to, you know, the pens and say I picked, I don't know, green or whatever, you can either write with your finger or the pen. So it doesn't really matter. And the smartboard doesn't know that this is a pen and this is my finger. I mean, it's treating both the same. So, but yeah, that part's a little confusing because people expect it to work just like PowerPoint. You lift blue, you want it to write in blue, but it shows up in black. So, and erasing, it erases the entire line segment in Word. So notice that, I'm using the eraser, but if I tap on the different lines, it's erasing the entire line segment. So, and that's just a Microsoft Word thing. So, questions on that? Was that confusing or not bad? No, not bad? Okay. Let me actually delete all this. And then, any other questions on Word? You good? Anyone want to come up and try it? You want to be on camera? No takers? All right.
It was yes until you added the second word.
What's that?
It was yes until you added the second
I
word.
know, right? I'm going to save this Word file as a PDF, and then we will, let me just do a save as real quick. I'm going to make this into a PDF so we can dive into working with PDF files. So, perfect. So if you have existing PDFs, that you've either created or you downloaded or whatever, you'll notice that, with a lot of updates in the computer, there's a couple different PDF viewers now, right? I know there's Microsoft Edge, which is a browser essentially. There is Adobe. There's Firefox. Yeah, there's 100 different PDF viewers that are available. Google has one. So with the smartboard, if you want to write on it, you want to be interactive with the PDF, I would recommend using Adobe. So Adobe is the default at Triton anyways, so you don't have to do anything out of the ordinary, but just in case you're used to a different PDF viewer or whatever. So here's my PDF file. By default, when I open, just make sure at the top here, it says Adobe Acrobat Reader. And that's how you know that it opens within Adobe. So, and like I said, at Triton, the default is Adobe anyways. So you don't have to worry about an extra step, but just in case. Because crazy things happen.
What do you have to press down there?
Nothing, Nope, I just opened, just double clicked, and open the file. So if you just wanted to show this PDF, obviously you can scroll, you can go back up, you can zoom, you have your basic PDF functions. If you wanted to write on this PDF, all you have to do is pick up the pen, either of the 4 colors, and you can write on the PDF. I can scroll, I can write, I can go back and see how the writing stays with the file. Now, just like PowerPoint, these blue markings, or whatever markings you're writing with, stay with the file. So when you close out, it's going to say, do you want to save your changes to this PDF? If you select no, all the blue markings go away, and you're back to your original file. If you select yes, the next time that you open this PDF, these blue markings are going to be everywhere. Are going to be with the file. So that's another one, just like PowerPoint. Take a second when you're, rushing out of class and the students are leaving and everything, and you're closing up. Just take a second and think about that, because again, I've done that before, and I've learned that one the hard way. And if you accidentally say yes, and these blue markings become part of your PDF, there's no way to delete them unless you get into a PDF editing software, which is a whole different story. So, so just make sure you take a second and think about it. So I'm going to say no. The blue markings go away. When I open the same file, I'm back to my original. I'll show you the alternative. So if I wrote on here, and I close out, and I say yes, it forces me to save it, so I'll just hit save, put it on desktop, save, yes. And now, oops, there it is, it moved, I'm like, where did it go? Now when I open this, the green markings that I wrote on it are part of the, part of the PDF, because I said yes, exactly. So, you know, it's not a hard thing, it just takes a little bit of getting used to if you're writing and you're annotating and things, so. Questions on PDFs? Or anything else? No? Okay. Let's see, what else is on our list? Websites. So if you are, you know, using websites and showing videos or, you know, using any online resources, you'll notice, just like PDFs, there's a bunch of different browsers to choose from, right? So there's Firefox, there's Chrome, there's Internet Explorer, I think there's Edge on a lot of the computers across campus. So you have at least 4 choices of different browsers, which is sometimes nice because sometimes websites, you know, seem to work better with other browsers, but other times you just, maybe 4 is too many. But if you're using the Smartboard to write on websites and annotate, out of the 4 choices that you have of basic browsers, I would always recommend using Internet Explorer, which I know is, it's not anybody's favorite, I don't think, but a lot of people prefer Chrome, and I'll show you the difference of how the Smartboard acts with Internet Explorer and Chrome. So I'm going to start with Internet Explorer, and we're actually going to do a side-by-side, so I'll show you this one. So this is, you know, Triton College, we'll go to programs, whatever. So here's Internet Explorer, Triton.edu, I have all these different things on the website. If I just wanted to show my students this website, I wasn't writing on it or anything like that, it doesn't matter what browser you use if you're showing students something. But if you want to get into writing, the biggest difference between Internet Explorer and the other browsers is you just pick up and you can write, right? And now watch. So this website is longer, right? So there's you know, additional content below. But notice that as I scroll down and I scroll back up, that particular writing stays with the website. So even if I scroll up, I scroll down, that writing is part of the website. Now let me show you the exact same website, the exact same scenario in Google Chrome. Yeah, let's look at that. So, I'm going to close out of this, I'm going to get Chrome up, Triton.edu, there we go, academics and then degree programs, right? Alright, same exact website, Google Chrome versus Internet Explorer. Watch what happens. Alright, so I can write on it just fine, just like I did in Internet Explorer. However, when you scroll, see what happens? It stays on the screen, and it doesn't scroll with the site.
Can you explain why?
It's a good question. So here's my explanation of this, and I don't know if it's really the most technical or anything like that, but the Smart technology and Microsoft seem to work very compatible. Smart technology and Google are kind of at odds. So Google has their own Smartboard. So think of Smartboards as kind of an interactive whiteboard. It's kind of like Kleenex. A Kleenex is a tissue, you know what I mean? And there's different brands. So there's Smart, and there's a Google version of the Smartboard, and there's, you know, 30 other brands of Smartboards. So I guess my explanation to your question is it's just the way that Smart and Microsoft have an agreement that they've come to terms on. So, and like I said, if you're just showing websites or bringing up YouTube videos or whatever, you know, you don't have to worry about this scenario. It's just if you're writing on the site or annotating. So, but yeah, see? Nope. But yeah, any questions on the differences? This same behavior happens in Firefox as well. If anybody uses the Firefox browser, I don't know if you do or not. That's the one that looks like this. It's kind of like a fox with a little like sun or whatever. So yeah, if you're writing, Internet Explorer. And I know that's not anybody's favorite browser, but for the use of the smartboard, that's my 2 cents. Any other programs? I know we kind of covered PowerPoint, PDFs, Word files, websites. Should we dive into Notebook a little bit? We can kind of go over that stuff. Okay, perfect. So that's what I was saying. The program that's designed by Smart is called Smart Notebook. I believe it's loaded on all these lab computers. So if you want to bring it up and you kind of want to play with it a little bit, you're welcome to do that. It should be loaded on the desktop, and it's kind of this blue. It's this blue and white icon. It's called Smart Notebook. And I always encourage people, if you just want a surface to write on, you know, you just want to start with being able to take notes on the smartboard, Smart Notebook is a really good starting point. You can bring up a blank PowerPoint, you can do all that, but it's pretty user friendly. So I think you'll like some of the features of Notebook. So when you first open Smart Notebook, the version that's standard across campus is 17.1. This is basically what it looks like when you first open it. So it's a blank presentation. It's just like opening a blank PowerPoint. These are going to be recent files. Typically people just close out of this box. And this is kind of the starting point. Like I said, if you just wanted to use this to write on, it's easy enough to lift the pen. You'll notice that when I lifted the blue pen in Notebook, on the toolbar, this icon got blue, and over here it indicated I'm working with the blue pen. So if I put the blue pen down, see how it goes back to the black arrow? See how it does that? If I pick up green, it's going to tell me up here I'm working with a pen, and that pen is green. If I put it down, back to the black arrow. If I pick up green and then red, what's going to happen? Anybody know?
Red.
It's going to be red, yeah.
Is this same with the 2 pens only?
So this particular model of board is one at a time. So only one person can write at the same time. The one with 2 pens, I think that you were asking about earlier, 2 people can write at the same time. If your board has 2 pens.
Oh, okay. But here's just one.
Here's one, yeah. So it's always going to remember the last pen that was lifted out of the tray. So this is obviously red. Even if I write with green, it's going to show up as red. Is your mind spinning yet? Because there's nothing particular about these pens. They're just placeholders. They're just pieces of plastic. There's no technology in the pens. All of the technology on the smartboard is in the tray. Yeah, so there's a little sensor in each compartment of the tray that when it's lifted, it's like, hey, you're writing in red. So even if you mix all these up, just pay attention to the color that you last picked up, and you can use, it's still going to be green, even though I'm writing in blue and red, because there's nothing significant about these. Does that make sense? It kind of confuses people, because they're like, wait a minute, that's a red pen, it's writing in a different color. So, but yeah, so that's kind of how that works. If you ever walk into a classroom and there are, I think the pens sometimes are in the cabinet. I guess it probably depends on the last person that was in there. But if you're ever in a bind and there's no pens in your classroom, hopefully that doesn't happen. But as long as you cover up each sensor in the trays, just with a Post-it note or I guess something that's dark, then you still have full functionality of the board. So these don't depend on making it work. So, I know that was a long explanation on writing on the board, but, so I have the pens and then the eraser. Again, it's indicating on the toolbar, I have the eraser in my hand, and I can use that to erase. So, questions on writing or erasing in notebook? No? Okay, let me just kind of go over some of the basic tools. I don't know how much you'll dive into this. And just so you guys know too, Triton has enough licenses, so if you get into really liking the software and you're kind of getting the hang of it, and you want to work on this at home, on a home computer, Triton does have enough licenses for faculty members to have this software at home. All you'd have to do is shoot a quick email to Umberto, and he can get you the information on the licensing and the website and the download process and all that. So, if you like it, you can have it.
So you can download it and use it in our own personal
Computer.
desktop computer?
Yep, exactly. Either a laptop, as long as it is a Mac or a PC. So if you have a Chromebook or something like that, it doesn't work on Chrome yet. So, but a Mac or a PC, it'll work. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Or a desktop or a laptop. But yeah,
Right. And it's free?
Yep.
No.
For Triton faculty members, yes.
Only
Yep.
while you're actively
I'm
employed.
assuming so. I have not asked him that, but I'm assuming yes. So let me just kind of run through some of the basic ones in Notebook. I'm not going to dive too far into it, but some of the basic ones, I'm sure you can probably guess what they are just by looking at the icon. White page with the green plus. Guess is on that one. Add a page. Bingo. So you can add, multiple pages just like a PowerPoint. Right next door is a white page with a red X. Delete page. Good. The file folder with the little arrow is, I know it's kind of confusing. Open. It's open. So if you had an existing Smart Notebook file that you wanted to open, you could click there, or you could go to File, Open. So it's just a shortcut link. Just depends on your preference. Let's see, the floppy disk, which is so funny. Nobody ever uses a floppy disk anymore. Kind of obsolete. But that apparently is the universal symbol for save, right? So the floppy disk, I bet kids probably don't even know what a floppy disk is anymore. So that's going to be save. You can go to File, Save, and you'll find with Notebook, just like other programs, there's different ways to do one thing. So if you did File, Save, or if I clicked on the icon, you just have different options. So just like saving any other document you've ever saved, you have to name the file. So if I wanted to save this file, I could call it Tuesday afternoon or whatever. And then indicate where you're saving it to. And then you would, at Triton, you would want to save it on your flash drive because these computers have that deep freeze function. So once you log off of these computers, then it goes back to square one. So yeah, so don't save them to the computer because you'll never get it back. And just so you guys know, by doing a file save, it saves this file as a Smart Notebook file. And the reason I point that out is if you go home and you don't have the software, but you plug in your flash drive and you try to open this file, it's going to say, nope, can't find the program to open Smart Notebook. Unless you either have the software, or if you wanted to make sure that your students could open it or you could open it, under File, there is an option. It's about halfway down. It says Export As. And you could export this as, so you could take your Smart Notebook file and make it into a PDF. And that way, students at home can open it and see it and view it. They can't make changes to it, but they can see, if you have specific notes or writing or whatever. I think, is that what you were saying you do quite a bit? Okay. There's some other file types on there too, PowerPoint, PDF. I would say, your safest bet in that list is just PDF. And you can then upload your PDF to Blackboard or, any other websites or whatever. PowerPoint is usually pretty safe, but sometimes people don't even have PowerPoint on their computers anymore, so safest is PDF. But yeah, so that's just kind of the save function. Let's see, one of the tools that I really like, if you had, say you had your agenda up here, and these were the 5 things you were going to go over in class. It's right to the right of save. It's this tool, kind of right up here, and it looks like, I know it's hard for you guys to see, but it looks like a pull-down screen. Like it looks like
It's
like one of these
blind.
almost, like in your classroom that you have. Yeah, it almost looks like a blind. So this is called the screen shade, and basically how this works is you click on the screen shade, and it puts this layer on top of your page. Okay, so kind of think of it like an overhead, right? So you had your overhead transparency, and then you had a piece of paper right back in the day, and you pulled the piece of paper down and it'd show one thing at a time. So same concept. So it adds a shade on top of your page, and then you just hold and pull down, and then it'll reveal, one thing at a time. Yeah. And you can go 2 different directions. So I could say, on the agenda for class today, there are 5 different topics we're going to cover. Here's what we're going to do. You just pull it down. If you click on it, you can change the color. That's new. I know. I'm sure nobody cares about that, but I'm going to show you anyways. Yeah.
You can do this with PowerPoint presentations too, right?
Yeah, so with your PowerPoint presentations, there's kind of 2 different ways that you can work with them. So you can use them directly in PowerPoint, like I showed you earlier, and just pick up a pen and write. Or if you're really liking this Smart Notebook software and you're kind of getting into it and you're, liking the functionalities and things, within Notebook you can do a file and then import, which is the 3rd option down. And you can actually take an existing PowerPoint and make it a Smart Notebook file. So if you like some of this, do I want to save the changes to this one? I'm going to say no. And then it just asks you to find your PowerPoint. You click on it, and you say open, and it'll convert it from PowerPoint into Notebook. And you can use the screen shade, and you can use all those tools and things. Keep in mind, though, there are some limitations when you import it. So things that you lose from A to B. Videos, if you have embedded videos in your PowerPoints. If you have links, like hyperlinks to link to like websites and things, those get lost. Let's see, links, videos. Effects, like if you're zooming in text and, things
That's
that,
what I was gonna say, because in PowerPoint you got the effects of like delaying something.
yeah,
You don't wanna show it. Remember there's a timer?
yeah,
so-
that you can like tap and, the next bullet point
Yeah,
flies in,
there
and,
you go.
yeah. And a lot of times people bring, if you do like Notebook and you're getting into it, a lot of people bring back that function by just adding the screen shade, because it's basically the same idea, you're just showing, one thing at a time, but it's not as exciting as when it flies in. So yeah, if you do, that's a good point, I'm glad that you brought that up. If you like using some of that within Notebook, it's easy to do. Let's see. I'll just go over a couple more. This one right here that looks like the kind of the computer screen with the magnifying glass, that gets into some different functions. Full screen is the most popular out of the list of however many there are there. Full screen just gives you more working space, not so distracting. It's kind of like getting into presentation mode in PowerPoint. You lose all the toolbar and the menus and all that. So, yeah. And then you just close out of this box. I'll bring it back. let's see, any specific questions on any of those tools that we've gone over? No? Okay. We're gonna dive into one. I'm not sure if it works on the computers in front of you. I let Umberto know, I was just here last week doing a workshop, but I think unless something's changed in the last week, it only works on this computer, and it'll work in your classrooms. But in the lab, I know there's some activation things going on. Yeah?
Yeah, a couple of times, more than twice, I accidentally, when I was solving a problem, I moved the answer from one part to another.
Okay. So, like this? Like you moved it like this?
Yeah, and then I wanted to do it, and then I couldn't do it.
Okay. If that happens, were you in Notebook in this program?
Yes.
Okay. My second favorite tool is Undo. So that's right above Add a Page. And that's just like Undo in Word or anything like that. So if you keep going back and back and back and back, it'll take your, it'll go back to the original state eventually.
So if
I'm wondering if that would have solved the
So you
problem.
move those 2, 3, 4, 5 by just tapping on it?
Yep.
Like
So if
that?
you just hold and drag. See how I'm just doing that with my finger?
I also did it with the eraser. I don't know,
Because that'll never fit. I wonder how you,
yeah, And that
because
makes
even if
sense.
you erase and then I go back to undo, it'll come back. So try that next time it happens. That might be your saving grace. So let me talk quickly about a feature within Notebook that I think is kind of cool. I know a couple faculty members on campus have started using this. I don't know if you guys would use it. It probably depends on what you teach, but there is a function within Notebook, and it's called Lab. So Lab was fairly new. Lab stands for Lesson Activity Builder. So Lesson Activity Builder. Right? And the whole concept behind Lab is it's meant to help create an interactive lesson on the smartboard in 5 minutes or less. So 5 minutes or less, called Lab. So to use Lab, and like I said, I don't think it's active on these computers, but I'm gonna remind Umberto to get that up and running. But so Lab is the weird icon on the toolbar, not this one, but it's this weird icon right there that looks like the blue alien.
Yeah.
And I know it's like the strangest icon. Trust me, I think it's weird too. But so the way I always kind of remember Lab is it's the weirdest icon on the toolbar because it's the blue alien. And Lab, right, L-A-B, has 3 letters. So to create one of these lessons, it's 3 steps. So 3 letters, 3 steps. So I'm going to launch Lab by just clicking on the blue alien. And basically what these are they are blank templates that you can customize for your own content, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 different blank activities that you can create through this activity builder. So if I wanted to create one, say English, like an English-Spanish, you said you were the ESL program, right? Okay. So I'm just going to create a sample one so you guys can kind of see what it's all about. But I'm going to do English, Spanish, and I want students to come up and match up the English word and the Spanish word. So I'm going to need your help. So what I'm going to do is match them up. So that's the first step, selecting your activity. The second step is customizing it. So this is where I'm going to do English and Spanish. So I'm gonna do colors. Rojo, red. What is it? Blanco, white, right? I think. What else is there?
Largo large.
What is it?
Largo.
Large? Okay, whatever, that works.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been like 15 years since I've taken Spanish. Oh, I messed those up. These are Spanish, clearly,
Oh.
and this is English. Sorry. So, point proven here. You have to set it up the correct way. Otherwise, it's not going to. Yeah, it can't read that those are Spanish and those are English. So, anyways, so you add your content. You click next. There's these different themes to them. I don't know if the higher ed students are really going to appreciate rock concerts and gardens and things like that. So there is a simple theme. So we'll just keep it simple. And then we do finish. And it does all of the back end work for you. So that last step was doing the theme. And then the idea here is that the students are coming up, red and rojo, and that's a match, right? White and largo is not a match. So white and largo, largo, large, that's a match. So that's kind of the concept with this lab. So they're supposed to be kind of interactive activities, get the students up out of their seats, doing something a little bit more than just going through a PowerPoint presentation. But like I said, I don't know if you'll use that or not, but I just wanted to show it to you just in case. But all of these activities can all be created just straight from that alien icon. There's some cool ones like game show if you're ever doing midterms and you wanted to make a quick review game or something. It's just an easy tutorial. It's just multiple choice questions. You have this like cheesy game show host that keeps the score and all that. So yeah, there's that one. I mean, there's some easy ones. Label reveal. If you were doing any, like here's an example with the animal cell. You can point to those particular parts. You can drop down and do different definitions. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to expose this to you so you knew that it was there. There are 3 of them, Shout It Out, Response To, and Monster Quiz, that say that devices are required. So basically for those, students have to be doing it on their phones or on a computer or on a laptop or an iPad or whatever. If you're not into bringing students' devices to class, that's not your cup of tea, then I would definitely avoid those 3. But if you did like that kind of thing and you wanted to let your students do that, they're pretty cool. They're really fun. And basically all you do is you select the activity. We'll do this one. You guys can do it from your desktops there. This is one of those activities. It's called Shout It Out. It's kind of like, have you ever been in a workshop where everybody was given a couple Post-it notes and you had to go put your Post-it note on like a like a big flip chart of different things. It's kind of the same concept as that. It's a brainstorming tool. But basically, you can say, I want the contributions random. So it's kind of that Post-it note exercise on the smartboard. I'm going to have you contribute by text. I'll give you 3 choices. We'll do finish. So once you create this, I'm going to remove these students. These are from last week's workshop. Basically what happens is it generates a website. So the website's classlab.com. So your students would then go to this site and enter this code, and then when they're there, they can contribute. If you want to try it on your computers in front of you, you can do it. And then they just type in their contributions, and they kind of show up all over the place. So if you want to try it, go to classlab.com. Actually, I'll bring it up too, so you can kind of see what it looks like if you. And in this situation, it doesn't matter what browser you use. get to the site, it'll ask you for your class ID, and that's the 8-digit number. 691799043. My name. All right, and you can see here on the left, I'm in, obviously, Gary's in and Sarah's in. So you can kind of see as people log in, you know, if you have the majority of your students, or if you have no students, then you know you're not ready to start yet. But once you get to the website and enter the code, basically all it says on the site is, hey, whatever you put your name in as, just waiting for your teacher to start the lesson. So when I, as the teacher, hit start, then it pushes the activity to your devices. Question? No, that's okay. No problem. Did you go to classlab.com?
Okay. Do we put our email address or what?
So the class ID is that,
Up there?
yep,
Okay, I
it's
thought.
that,
Now, if you're, are all their devices interconnected? Because different brands and, you know,
yeah,
I mean, if you're using a Milk or some, they all work.
yeah, good question. So, I don't know if you guys all heard did you get it?
Let me see. Although it seems that Apple has,
So I think you were just on the incorrect website.
hold on.
So go ahead and go to classlab.com. Oh, no space, sorry.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
I know.
For some
That's
reason,
what-
my eyes said it was a space in between. Sorry.
I know, it's confusing.
Although I think Apple has taken over everybody's
Yep.
imagination. Oh, yeah, here it is. Demo teacher.
There we go.
Demo teacher?
Yep, exactly, that's me.
So they're all the brands are interconnected?
Yeah, exactly. So the question for you guys, I don't know if you all heard it, but the question was, does it matter what brand or what device you have in your pocket? And the good news is, no, it doesn't matter, because all they're doing is going to a website. So you can be on a phone, you can be on, you know, a computer here in this room, you can be on, I could be on my laptop. So that's the nice thing. They don't have to create anything. They don't have to sign in as a, you know, they don't have to create an account. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to, you know, do anything out of the ordinary of just going to a website and entering that.
So how did you, could you explain one more time?
Yeah.
How did you get there?
Sure. So the website you'll go to is that classlab.com, right up here. Oh yeah, so it's classlab.com. There you go. And then class ID is that 8-digit number, no space, right? So 69179043. Now I have a lot of people, and I have Mary, Natalia, Britt, me, Gary, Sarah. Sarah was the first to join. Speedy, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the activity. So see how from up here I just hit start. Now your screens in front of you should have changed. Did they? Okay.
Oh, no.
To a text box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your name.
Enter your.
Oh, did you enter your name?
Oh, I see.
So if I said, you know, what's one takeaway from today's workshop that you're excited to use in your classroom?
Just,
So go ahead and type an idea in, or you can put Go Cubs, I don't really care what you put in. But as people are generating ideas, there you go, James. Is that you in the back?
yeah.
Okay, I got you. So as people contribute ideas, so one thing that you are excited to use, Go Cubs. Nice, Sarah. You know, as people contribute ideas, or the post-it notes, right? Here are, go Blackhawks. Here are different people's ideas on using the features of volunteer tutors. That's awesome. That everybody has contributed. And I can tell who said what based on, the first three initials, SAR, but every person is assigned a shape and a color. So, for example, Mary's is the blue star, so I can match up. Mary said, go Blackhawks. And I can see that Mary said, this will be fun when we figure it out. And I can see Britt said, using the volunteers, or using volunteer tutors. So, you can always track who said what, if you're concerned about, people putting crazy things up there. But that's basically the idea of that activity. So, get students engaged. I don't know, like I said, if it's something that's useful, but something a little bit different. Sometimes you just kind of have to try something new that's.
So you said they can use their cell phone or?
Yep.
Do they have to install any?
Nope. So yeah, if I joined on my device or on my cell phone, I just go to my browser. I go to Class Lab, and what I see here is the exact same thing that you saw on your screens. So it just asks me for the code and my name, and then I can contribute from my phone, just like you did from your computers. So,
That was just shouted out, right?
yeah, that was shouted out, yep. So, I don't know, that one's kind of fun. The other one that I think is definitely beneficial for, the nice thing, let me take a step back. You can pause. So I can pause midway through my activity, and then on your screens it should have said what activity paused or something like that. Yeah, so if you're like, pay attention, and nobody's looking at you, and you need to give directions or whatever. And one thing I did see with this, I was working with a high school teacher that used this for, she used it for an exit slip kind of strategy. So, what was one takeaway from today's class, or what questions do you still have on this topic, or whatever it was. Anyways, her concern was everybody just sees each other's answers, right? So one person's going to say lab, and then everybody else is just going to be like, yeah, that sounds good, lab. So what we did for her class is, remember we talked about that screen shade at the beginning of when we were talking about Notebook, this tool, right? So we used the screen shade, and we just showed the website and the code, and then, she gave them X amount of time, you have 2 minutes or whatever to put your idea out there, and then she paused it just like I did, and revealed so that not everybody could see each other's answers before the activity was over. So it just kind of gave her a better understanding of how, or a better, idea of what people said, so. But yeah, that one's called Lab. The other one that I think, especially in your environment, that would be useful, some of these are a little kind of juvenile, but the response to activity, that's a good one for any assessments. So if you're just doing kind of a general assessment, you need just a quick quiz. It's really simple. This actually took the place of the old clickers. I don't know if you guys had ever used those in workshops or anything like that. They were like blue remotes. Anyways, this response to took the place of that. But basically all you do to create this is select that activity. You have an option of 5 different question types. So I can say polar opinion. Do you think the Cubs will win tonight? Absolutely. My choices are absolutely, or not so sure. I can do a multiple choice. I can add a question, there we go. Multiple choice, so I don't know who pitched last night. Wasn't
And
it
this is all
Lester?
on classlab.com?
So this is created through the Smart Notebook software.
Okay.
Yeah, but in order for students to take the quiz, that's when they have to go to classlab.com.
Okay,
Does that kind of answer your question?
yeah.
Okay. I think Lester fished last night. I don't know. Lester, or we'll put in, I don't know, Brian, even though he doesn't fish, but whatever. So add question, true or false. Cubs have to win tonight to advance. True. Okay. So here's my exciting, exciting quiz about the Cubs. But so you can review the content, click finish, and if you're still on the website, I'll push this activity to you guys so you can. Finish. There you go. So you can kind of see how this looks. Is everybody still on classlab.com? You want to start this new activity? All right. So I'm going to hit start. I'm going to start the new activity.
Okay.
So on your computers, it should have directed you to this quiz. Does everybody see the first question?
Yeah, it's,
Um,
it was Lester.
I think it was, yeah, it was Lester because Brian's not even a pitcher.
That's right.
So you have a process of elimination there, or I'll tell you, or you saw me set it up. So this quiz probably is pretty easy for most of you. So you'll see as everybody is answering the questions around here, I can see, 80% of questions are answered, 75, here we go. I'm logged in, but I'm not answering questions, so think they're gonna win? Let's see. Let's see what the audience says. It's kinda like poll the audience on that game. What is it? Who wants to be a millionaire or whatever? Yeah. Poll the audience. Alright, I'm giving you 5 more seconds for those. Did you guys see at the top how you could advance to the next question? There's little arrows. You guys all get that? Okay. We're getting close. I'm probably the one that's throwing this off because I'm not doing it. Alright, I'm gonna end. And then you should have received your feedback on the screen. Should have told you if you got it right or wrong. One person missed this one. So down at the bottom here, I can advance and I can see they do have to win tonight to advance. What happened to my other question? Didn't I have 3?
No, just
I think
two
two.
showed up.
2? Oh, okay. So from here you get the overall results, right? So I can see that who pitched last night, 6 people said, Lester. Obviously that was the majority because 1 person missed it and 1 person didn't answer. That was me that didn't answer. But the nice thing is, so it just gives you overall results, and then down here at the bottom, and I know it's probably hard for most of you to see, but it says export results. And that's when you can get an Excel file with individualized data. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm just going to save it to the desktop. So then I can see who, let me find that. It'll pop up here. That was me that missed all of them because I didn't take it. Here it is. So here's that Excel file. And then this gives me specific data. So I can see that Britt got 100%. She answered both of them A. And I can see, who missed some and whatever. So, so that's kind of how that assessment tool works. A lot of times people use that for like a pre-test or, just kind of gauge understanding and so. But yeah, those 2 I think shouted out and that response to are usually, good fit for higher ed. Some of the other ones I'm kind of iffy on, but. Monster quiz, I don't know, if you're, probably not. It's fun, but it's pretty childish. So, monster quiz, you just create a quick quiz that groups people into different groups and then they compete with their teams, but the teams are pretty like the Space Blasters and the Meteor Aliens or so it's kind of like, I don't know, a little juvenile, but anyways, I hope that kind of gets you some ideas on Notebook and using it a little bit interactively. But all that's done through Lab, so something to check out, and I'm going to have Umberto make sure that all these computers are loaded with and activated with the software. But like I said, if you're interested in having the software at home, if you wanna kind of play with this before, you go live in front of your students, just shoot Umberto an email and he can get you the licensing information and the website, to download it from. So I think we'll wrap it there unless you guys have specific questions or you wanna, come up and ask anything, or you can stay after, that's fine too. Lastly, I'm gonna give you my email, so, if you have questions, don't hesitate. There you go, so that's how to reach me, so if you, have any questions or you come across anything that you have trouble with, don't hesitate to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to help. This group in here is obviously a good resource as well, so. Yeah, questions?
Yeah, I came in late because I was teaching, but.
That's okay.
When you go from institution to institution, you run into different model smart boards.